Hello everybody and welcome to the kitchen table. It's Alison Southern here from Melksham Team Ministry. Catching up with you on our midweek session. I hope you're doing well. This morning over breakfast, Derek made an interesting comment which got me thinking. He said he wondered what Jesus would have done if he was to reshuffle his cabinet. It really made me smile and I thought about just that. The government has just had a huge reshuffle. Our Prime Minister moving people from positions and bringing others in, creating a team around him that he thinks will bring the best to his government. Of course, we all do that, don't we? Businesses have to have leadership teams. We select people that we want to be there for specific reasons. Maybe we're headhunting people who've got really good skills when it comes to thinking about strategic thinking. Maybe there are others who are whiz kids when it comes to finances and can bring stability to a firm. As church, we have PCCs. They are a body of people who have the care of the church in mind, some of them with great skills, all of them with different skills, and they bring together a blend which makes the church work as smoothly as it can. Jesus gathered around himself a group of 12 disciples. They were a really mixed bag. There was Peter. I always think of Peter as being the disciple. He always asks that question. He always trusts and then moves back. He's the one who walked on water, then started to sink. He's the one who would ask the questions that maybe every other disciple was thinking, but Peter was the one who just came out there and said it. He was impulsive. He was passionate. And Jesus kept him close to him all the way through his ministry. There are others too. Andrew, who was really good at calling others. There was Simon, Thaddeus, who we know very little around and about. James the Greater, James the Less. Each one of them had different characteristics. Matthew was called and he was a tax collector. One of those people that the Jews really struggled to engage with. He was taking their money, giving it to the Roman Empire. Tax collectors, even back then, were people that bore the brunt of the blame. And yet, when Jesus called him, Matthew just left all of that and went and followed him. Nathanael too sat under a fig tree. A fig tree is a symbol of a place of learning, so we can imagine that Nathanael was a thinking person. And he challenged that Jesus, who came from Nazareth, could be worth anything at all. But then Jesus spoke to him and suddenly it was realized by Nathanael that this was indeed the Messiah, and he followed. Jesus did have a ragtag bag of men around him, a mixture of fishermen, maybe learned people. If he was going to have a reshuffle, what would it have looked like? I like to think if he was reshuffling his cabinet or his disciple team, he might have included a few more women around them. I think he certainly would have done if he was living in this day and this time. But that's not to say that he didn't have women there as the backbenchers, if you like. They were the movers and the shakers, the people who made things happen. There was Mary, who hung on his every word and wanted to learn more and more from him. Martha too, who knew he was her Lord but a great organizer. When it came to making things happen, she was your woman. And what about the woman at the well? She was a Samaritan woman, not somebody that Jesus would normally have had a conversation with, and yet he did. He stepped out of the bounds of relationship that were normal in his time and had a conversation with a woman who then ran away to tell everybody about this man, the promised one, the Messiah who had come. And they followed her. Such was her conviction and her belief. Wow, who wouldn't want that on your team? And then there's a Syrophoenician woman, a woman who desperately wanted Jesus to heal her daughter. Not one of the Jews, not one of the people that Jesus was thought to have come to save, but one of the Gentiles beyond the people of Israel. And she challenged Jesus. She said, even dogs eat the crumbs from under your table. She was challenging him to say, you know, I'm here. I need your help. I believe you can do this. Challenge. I think if you're putting a cabinet around you, a PCC, a works party, a family, whatever it is, there will always be a mixture of people. And to get the best, you really need to shake it up a bit. You need to have people who will challenge. Doubting Thomas, prove to me that you are Jesus. You need to have that Syrophoenician woman who says, me too, I matter. I may not be one of that body of people, but I matter. You need somebody there to speak up for those who have nothing. Maybe if there was a reshuffle, Jesus would have included people that he hadn't even met in person. People like Luke, who wrote the Gospel that we know so well. Maybe he was one of the 70, the disciples that had been called after the 12. So a backbencher, if you like. A physician, somebody who cared about health. Maybe he'd be somebody good to have on the crew, somebody to understand. And Luke certainly seemed to understand about Jesus and the call for looking after the least, the last and the lost. We need all of those people in our governments, in our PCCs, in our families. People to keep it real, to keep the questions being asked. Jesus called all those people, knowing them for their qualities and their flaws. He called each and every one of them, knowing them fully, loving them just the same. I pray that the government's reshuffle will bring about people in that government who have the heart of each and every one of us within it. And I want you to know that Jesus calls you too. Do you want to be on his cabinet? Would you be there, following him, maybe challenging sometimes, maybe asking the questions, but always trusting, always knowing that Jesus is the one who has you, firm and safe in his hold. Jesus came into this world. He called 12 disciples to follow him, and he gave them the command to go and share the good news with everybody to the ends of the earth. Beyond time and space, he knew that his followers were going to look for the good, to share the story, to show people the way of life that Jesus calls us to live. Of course, our governments are no longer, well, they're not tied to any religious affiliation. But whether you are religious, or whether you're just interested in the world, in the security of our nation as a place of love and support for those who are weakest and most vulnerable, as well as those who are wealthy and have everything. That's what Jesus came to do, to make us see that we are all children of God, all created in his image, all worthy of his love and each other's love. So rich or poor, old or young, man or woman, straight or gay, wherever you come from, whatever your background, you are loved and cared for. I pray that our government, however it is made up, new people, new faces, some faces that have been there a while, I hope in their hearts they seek to do the good for our nation, for all people. That there is no difference in the level of care that they will give, all receiving equal. And I really pray that whether you're gathering a family, whether you're at work, or whether you just sit back and watch the world do some crazy things, that you know you are called, you are loved, and you are invited to follow Jesus all the days of your life. Enjoy the journey. Take care. God bless. And we'll be back at the kitchen table on Sunday morning. Bye for now.